Hello, you're watching news from Central Asia. I'm Diana Bayalinova, and today's headlines. New demand of the protesters: they want to go on the air without censorship. Kyrgyz President Kurmanbek Bakiyev is threatening with impeachment. The collection of signatures for president's resignation can start shortly. Draft campaign became in Uzbekistan. The medical condition selection is toughened. A competition for best project of Rudaki Memorial Complex is planned very soon in Tajikistan. The winner will receive $4,000. The rally in the capital of Kyrgyzstan attracts a lot of young people with nothing to do. According to the law enforcement, the drunken protesters become one of the symbols of mass protest actions. A comment on the situation with the rally was given by the Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs, Police Major General Temirkan Subanov.
Вчера митинг закончился в 10:30. Было очень много выпивших молодежи.
Yesterday's rally ended at 10:30 p.m. There were a lot of drunken young people. We did everything to provide the public order. We have reinforced the night patrols, and as a result, 217 people were brought to the reception center. These young people were walking around at night being drunk. We will apply the same measures today too and in the future, until the rallies will end.
И в эти дни, пока не закончится этот митинг.
Parliamentary Deputy Kanabek Manaliyev came out with an initiative to impeach President Bakiyev. The collection of signatures for the resignation of head of state will start in the nearest future, right on the square where the opposition protest actions are taking place. The opponents of the authorities need to collect 300,000 signatures to initiate the impeachment procedure.
Work group is already being created in the United France headquarters, which will be collecting signatures for the impeachment of Kurmanbek Bakiyev. According to the deputy, the head of state didn't live up to the hopes, and there is an apparent system crisis. The parliamentarian says that the way out of the political dead-end should be found as soon as possible. All means are good for that goal.
Согласно действующей Конституции,
according to the current constitution, if more than 300,000 voters will create an initiative group and collect signatures, then a referendum is held with a single question about the legitimacy of the president. If the majority will say that he doesn't have the right to be the leader of the nation and head of state anymore, then he has to leave. Currently, it is not a problem to collect 300,000 signatures, says Manaliyev. Time is the problem. First, the signatures have to be collected, then they will be given to the Central Election Committee for expertise. Only after that, CSC will make a decision about holding a referendum on the legitimacy of the president. At least 6 months are needed for this procedure. The members of the Central Election Committee do not give any comments about the parliamentarians' initiative and note that the deputy can say whatever he wants to say. The opinions of regular citizens are far from the rallying passions. I don't deal in politics. I have to work here, and that's it. This is the work of politicians. We need to work more and rally less. Maybe that is right, because any changes without a referendum are impossible. Today, the work group will make a statement about the start of collecting of signatures for resignation of Kurmanbek Bakiyev. There is no reaction yet from the authorities about the actions of opposition.
A head of one of the Osh city public funds, who called himself a close friend of former President Askar Akayev, made a statement that Osh city law enforcement are persecuting him for political views. The acquaintance of the former president wants to bring Askar Akayev back and support the United Front. He said that this was the reason for him being persecuted. More details in our next report from Osh.
Amanbay Satybayev says he entirely agrees with the demands of the United Front. In case of early elections or presidential resignation, the public activist who calls himself a close friend of Askar Akayev is going to propose his candidature for the position of country's head. Amanbay Satybayev says that because of this, he is persecuted by the law enforcement agencies for his liberal views and expressions. I will run for president as a person who frankly speaks to his people. I always suggested bringing Askar Akayev back. If people are not able to bring Askar Akayev in orderly way, I would do it in case my victory in presidential elections. Amanbay Satybayev says that law enforcement employees have detained him factitiously. He has not committed any unlawful actions and his reputation is crystal clear. One operative named Ernis and another one Talonov, I don't remember his name, have held me in the court for 3 hours and forced me to go to the city police department where I was incriminated of hitting someone with a car, but they failed to prove it. In his response, Amanbay Satybayev is going to prove that current authorities failed to lead the Kyrgyz nation forward, and the only person who can occupy presidential position is the former head of state Askar Akayev.
An international jazz Bishkek Spring Festival will take place in the end of April in Bishkek. Bands from Europe, America, Central Asia countries will participate in it. The festival will be held under the slogan "Music Without Borders."
Even though jazz music in Kyrgyzstan is less popular than it's on the West, local musicians can worthily represent the country at the festival of such scale. There are 3 bands from Kyrgyzstan. One of them is Jazz OK, a band compiled of jazz veterans. Alexander Akimov is playing sax for 40 years. He participates in such events quite often.
В этот раз мы представим несколько новых вещей, но, естественно, как всегда.
This time we will perform several new compositions. It's a secret for now. We will present something very new. Maybe we will include some old popular stuff too.
Зацепим пару вещей, которые мы уже исполняли, но это те вещи, которые любит народ.
Today Alexander has come to the studio for rehearsals of their festival performance. Jazz abhors the idless. There must be a constant work in order to produce good music. Alexander's studio is 2 by 2 meters. The walls are covered with posters of famous jazzmen and magazine scraps. Alexander puts everything he feels and experiences in his music. Jazz became extremely popular in the beginning of the last century, and it's pinpointed to the famous saxophonist Charlie Parker. He was one of the first to bring this music to the masses. Jazz is the music of the mood, music of free and creative people, the magic dialogue of musicians with their audience.
Я, например, этим доволен. С одной стороны, джазовым музыкантам тяжело, а с другой стороны, они более свободные от всех.
Life of jazz musicians is difficult on one hand, but on the other, they are freer from any leadership. Just like Parker, a musician whose nickname was the bird. Probably all jazz musicians strive for the same, to be free as a bird in art and performance.
The festival will be held in Bishkek Opera and Ballet Theatre. The organizers are planning to hold such events every year in April and make jazz music more popular in Kyrgyzstan.
To the other news, the draft of young people is done in Uzbekistan every year. The draftees undergo medical checkups by the qualified doctors. This year, the spring draft has begun in March. Our next report is about the changes to the drafting system of Uzbekistan. Hundreds of young men undergo medical checkup in view of spring drafting campaign at Tashkent Regional Assembly Station. 8 doctors determine the feasibility for military service. In case of any deviation, the draftee is either given time for treatment or unfit stamp in his documents. Roman says that it was his own initiative to serve in military. He heard that it's difficult to find a job in many organizations without a military ID card.
I'm curious of what's going on in the army, though I'm a little scared. I heard about hazing in the military. I want to experience it myself.
Today, draftees bid farewell to their relatives and listen to the commander's words of severance. Yet they don't know where they're going to be sent.
The draftees shouldn't know what forces are they going to be sent to until the departure. I can say that the data on draftees chosen for National Security Forces and Ministry of Internal Affairs is prepared well in advance, and later we'll send them regarding to these documents.
A special competition is carried out for draftees who wanted to serve in elite forces. There are a lot of requirements: fitness condition, good health, marital status and education. In 2003, the duration of military service in Uzbekistan was reduced from 2 years to 1.
Captain Ibragimov says that this was done because the army was overfull, which didn't let other capable men to serve.
A video conference of one of the biggest Uzbekistan's project, Kilijakavazi, was held in the building of Kamalot Central Youth Union Movement.
The Uzbek Culture and Art Forum Fund, together with Kamalot Movement, have announced the beginning of third contest among the country's youth. There were 10,000 of participants aged 15 to 25 last year. Today the organizers and members of jury give a press conference for attracting of more talents. The list of nominations varies from fine and applied arts to technical innovations.
Конечно, наиболее проявляет в живописи.
People are expressing themselves mostly through painting. There are a lot of young artists, which I think will become original painters. The applied art is well developed as well, but is a little weak in some districts, especially in Andijan and Fergan Valley. I know that family traditions of ceramists are well known there. However, for some reasons, those people don't participate in the contest.
Традиции керамистов.
The coordinators of Kilijakavazi project are working in all regions of Uzbekistan, so that district's youth would be able to participate as well. Following the results, the works of winners will be displayed at the country-wide exhibition.
1,150 years of the famous poet Abdullah Rudaki will be celebrated next year in Tajikistan. Dushanbe's Central Recreation and Entertainment Park will receive a makeover. Erecting of the poet's memorial complex is planned here. The local authorities organize an open contest among local and foreign legal entities to find the best project. Our next report is about one of the preliminary stages of the contest.
Contest participants were given 45 days for development of Rudaki Memorial Complex project. 8 projects instead of 7 were received by the deadline. After studying the projects, a discussion was started by the committee. It was decided not to rush with the decision and learn about opinions of regular citizens.
We give Thursday, Friday and Saturday to the Dushanbe residents to familiarize with this project. They can come, look at them and tell their opinions.
The originator of Tajik Persian literature is portrayed differently on the sketches. Most of the painters draw him basing their works on ghazals, the poems of the poet himself. He is young on one sketch and an elder on another.
I wanted the Rudaki monument to look like the one next to the Agricultural University, approximately of the same age. I hope our masters will make the new monument that way.
It was decided to reveal the winner after the public judgment. The project's realization will be finished in September of 2008, timed to 1,150th anniversary of the poet. The project is a large-scaled one, and $4 million will be needed for the construction works.
You were watching news from Central Asia, and that is all for now. For additional information, visit our website at engl.stan.kg. Thanks for being with us. See you back tomorrow.